Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett. Here you go. There's a nut for Rhett. It is Thursday, which is typically Rhett doesn't join me on Thursdays. It is already 8:54 in the morning, so I don't have a whole lot of time, only a couple minutes to make video. And let's see if we can get something done in a couple of minutes. I can't remember exactly what we're working on. I think we are to the point where, oh, okay, I think we finished up material delete. Getting the whole delete working for material. Let's see. Yeah, I think if we add one, add viz, we go over here, we delete it, and then we hit back. And we're back to 0. So material is in fact being deleted. And then we look over here, and the next one looks like is mesh. Now mesh is going to be a little trickier. I don't think it will be for this though, because with mesh and ST, meshes can have other things. They can be used in multiple places. There's all kinds of complexities around deleting, but I think there's only one ThreeJS mesh per visualization, period. No, that's not true. A ThreeJS mesh cannot be in more than one visualization. That's the more accurate way of putting it. But I'm going to go into mesh here, and I'm going to, so it has its own service. Oh, this is ST. We don't want to be in ST. We want to be in 3. Go to mesh here. Notice it's one of the only ones that's not expanded. We got our mesh service. So it does look like we do, in fact, have like sort of something for delete. It doesn't look like we actually delete. Dispose. All right. So the thing is we have this mesh dictionary, which is a 3-mesh dictionary. And then let's see if we ever go and so there's where we create it. And we never, ever, 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 yeah, delete the mesh ID. We never, ever do that. But we do know that the first step is to, and these steps don't have to be, they're not in line. And that's one of the things that like really hangs up a lot of new developers is they kind of want things to be kind of procedural, and it just isn't. Unfortunately, it used to be. That's how things used to be. But mesh service is our newest example. So let's go to mesh service. Material service, and we know that we want. Okay, we know we're going to need the hash service. So let's go ahead and do that first. So we didn't have to do that first. I don't think we did that first last time, but it seems like if we have this example and the very first line is the hash service, and there's a lot of steps in getting the hash service, right? So that in itself is, so we want our hash service. So now we want to go over here and we want to, wait, oh yeah, no, we don't need the hash service. Oh no, I do need the hash service because that's how I tell if something changed. That is right. He's right. I totally forgot why we even do the hash service. Okay, so I don't have inject, which should come from core. I think we had like an inject that was coming from like node or something before, which was weird. Right. And then I know we're going to hit 3 before here, so let's just go ahead and do this. I'm pretty sure we'll do 3. All right. So now we do have an instance of the hash service. We don't use it anywhere. But I know that, let's go back to material service. Let's see what the next line is. Okay, so that's our dictionary, and then we have to make a public version of it, which is actually a signal. So here's our next thing that needs to come from core. And it's not going to be, it's generically typed over here as a material dictionary, which makes sense. But that is not what it's going to be in the mesh service. It's going to be a mesh dictionary. And I think it needs to exist. So we're going to change this material. We probably should just Control F. Okay, so material. So there's 17 instances of material in here, so maybe, yeah, so that, I was hoping we could just get rid of it. But this is our mesh, M-E-S, mesh, and it's a writable signal, which also I believe comes from core. I'm 99% sure that comes from core. There's one thing I've been using a lot that doesn't come from core. I think it comes from common. And then this is a mesh dictionary. And then this is a signal. Now this one probably won't come in order where I want it. So I like to keep all my lowercase together. So my understanding is the uppercase ones are typically their classes or like uh, interfaces, and the lowercase ones are functions. So like I just injected an actual function called signal. All right, mesh dictionary. And I guess one last thing I want to do is get that material, that hash. I know we have like a hash object. I believe it is the very next one, dictionary hash, which I think this actually, just other than the name, it's I already write, I think. And it's good to think about things like that. Like, okay, it's already like nothing, everything is very, very generic at this point. Um, Mesh dictionary, writable signal, string. Yeah, so that's other than the name, everything was because it's just a hash. All right, so that's basically the stuff. I believe we have everything we need so that we can show. Like now, basically, we just need to publish on create or update. Oh, that's right. So when you update a mesh, you actually have to destroy the ThreeJS version of it and all that. So actually, we probably would also want to do a delete here. But see how we create a new material mesh material. Yeah, so this update mesh takes an ID in the material and an optional dispose. By default, it is going to dispose it, and then it's going to create a new mesh by the ID that got passed in and all that. So I don't even know when the so that is okay. So that's a bug in itself because at this point we actually have a new mesh. This dot get mesh by ID. Oh no, okay, so get mesh by ID. Oh no, that gets the existing mesh. Is array. If it's an array, then it puts it in this and it disposes it, and then it adds the new material. Yeah, so the mesh is way more complicated, and I don't quite understand exactly what's going on, but it seems like at this point we'll also want to publish, and then we'll probably be able to see if, in the JSON itself if there's any changes. So there's some sort of like probably not particularly crazy, but some stuff going on that I don't quite understand in here that hopefully once we can actually see what's happening in the JSON, we'll be able to get a better take on it. I don't, yeah, I don't know exactly why we're updating the material. Maybe it's mesh, update mesh material. Okay, so we dispose of the material, not the mesh. See, I'm wondering at this point if actually it should be dispose mesh for each. So we dispose of the material when we update the mesh, but we don't delete the material. So we actually still keep a new one. Get mesh by ID, material. The material got passed in. So whatever calls this update mesh material probably needs to, let's see, Control F. Okay, so this only gets called from outside of this application. So whatever is doing that doing the update, I guess at this point we should probably also be telling the material service to delete the material as opposed to just disposing of it. We also want to delete it. We don't need a reference to it anymore. If we've Now it's not that big of a deal because I think that dictionary over there is probably gets updated with the new mesh material, but maybe not. It might still be on the old material when you do an update. So yeah, that is going to be hard to figure out. It's still very difficult to figure out. It'll be a lot easier. I believe it'll be a lot easier to figure out once we have this in here. So we do have some learning curve. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.